back to Good Morning Tobago on Tobago Updates. Viewers, of course, we know that we've had some disturbing news gracing our headlines recently, and specifically relating to, some cases of domestic violence where we're seeing, women continue to be brutalized, continue to be killed, and face certain situations within their relationships. And it begs the question that we need to continue to speak about some of these issues and bring some light, especially to those persons that may be trapped, or those persons might know people who may be stuck in certain situations that they are facing these challenges. So to speak with us this morning, I am being joined by Miss Onika, and of course she is, her as a founder of Women of Substance. So special good morning and welcome to you.
Good morning, Kandace. Good morning, Tobago. Good morning to our viewers. And first, I want to say congratulations, because this is a conversation that is necessary, it is relevant, and I'm happy that the conversation is being had outside of Domestic Violence Awareness Month in October or November during 16 days of activism. Mm-hmm. So thanks to Tobago Updates for that.
Certainly, and this is something that we plan to keep going as much as possible, because even though for some people might be hearing this news, like they might say that, okay, they're talking about it again, but the truth is, we can never finish talking about it because it continues to affect so many of our women.
Definitely, and this is domestic violence and abuse is something that occurs on a daily basis. Mm-hmm. And I believe we need to keep the conversation going so that persons are aware it is in their faces, and once it is in their faces, they are being educated. We are raising awareness. Persons are aware of the do's and don'ts, and aware of what a red flag looks like, what a unhealthy relationship looks like, what a healthy relationship looks like. So the conversation must continue 24/7, 365.
And I want to stick right there where, understanding what a domestic violence situation looks like. Because a lot of times people would tell you, well, you didn't think that this person would act this way, or you didn't realize that it would end up this violent or anything like that. Like they didn't see the warning signs. And talk us through, especially when we're hearing these stories coming up and we're wondering, how these people could not leave before. Tell me about some of the things that people go through in a relationship that might sort of blind them to the realities of the situation.
Well, the first thing that blinds persons, I think, is that idea of being in love. Mm. Yeah. So you're thinking that I'm in love, and I'm in love with this person, and this person wouldn't hurt. Now, the reality is that love shouldn't hurt. Yeah. So because we are in love, we overlook signs that we are supposed to keep our eyes wide open to. And because we are in love, we tend to believe, well, okay, this person wouldn't do X or this person wouldn't do Y. And we're thinking that, okay, let us say they would have yelled at us in the presence of friends, or, in a public space. We may think, okay, we may have done something to upset them, so let me overlook that. So when they apologize and, they say to us, if you didn't behave in that manner, I would not have reacted. Yeah. So these are things we tend to overlook, which mm-hmm. we definitely should not. We need to pay attention and, be alert in our relationships.
And then how do we help even our friends, our family, point out those issues? Because they themselves, like I said, as you're in a relationship, you're in love, and you're not thinking that this person is going to hurt you, but there are warning signs, and you're blinded. But then somebody from the outside might see it. But then how do you reach out, and how do you help them understand, hey, something is not wrong here, something is wrong here?
Right. First of all, we want to listen without judgment. Mm-hmm. A lot of times, people on the outside, when persons come to a place where they trust you enough to share their experience, we judge. We live in a society that is very judgmental, right? And the first question is, what did you do? You must have done something for him to be abusive or for her to be abusive, right? We should listen without judging, because nobody knows from on the outside what happens. Yeah. And a lot of times people tend to make comments. People tend to say things, they have their own idea of how they would have dealt with it. But, we would have heard the saying, walk a mile in her shoes and then tell her how you feel, because now you've had the experience. A lot of persons who share opinions and, make remarks that are a lot of times very painful and negative, they have never experienced domestic violence and abuse or intimate partner violence. Yeah. So then we want persons to listen without judging. We also want persons to provide that support by, through, of course, our awareness and education, refer persons to agencies that can assist, right? For example, Women of Substance. We have also the Coalition Against Domestic Violence. We have the Division of Health, Wellness and Social Protection. Refer persons, because a lot of times, because you don't have the information and the knowledge, you may give information that is wrong. You may tell your friend, if it was me, I would boil some hot oil and pour it on him while he's sleeping. It is not the right thing to do. And it means you're setting up your friend for a horrible experience,
Yes.
which is an experience with the law, right? So you want to guide the person to reach out for that much needed assistance. One of the things that we can also do in providing support is respect their decisions. Right?
And that's so important.
Definitely, because you want the person to still have that feeling that they, although their partner may have made them feel that they have lost all control, right? The person you still want to respect their decision. Their decision may not be the best at the moment, but we still respect. They may know why they are unable to leave the relationship right away. They may have children. They may have situations where we have a lot of situations where persons in relationships, they have loans together. They may have lived together for years. They may have contributed towards the home. And in their mind, they are not seeing threat to life and all that. They are clouded by the fact that they are in love, and they are thinking that, what, I would have invested so much. I spent so much money on, contributing to this house. I spent. But you know what? At the end of the day, if they believe that I want to give this person another chance, or I want to leave next month instead of right now, we need to respect their decision and understand that they too, their decisions are valid. It may not seem to you who are on the outside, but they know because they are in the relationship. We can continue to guide, however. Yeah.
But I mean, and talk to me about that situation of, especially being in a place where you seem as though, like, I mean, you've invested so much, and starting over seems scary. Because I don't think a lot of us, we confront that idea. It's like, it's easy to say, if he's being this way, leave, and start over. But starting over is not easy for many, many people.
And starting over is always rough. But I tell people, when you are starting over, you're starting over from a place of experience. And for me as a believer, right, I know about faith. I tell people all the time, faith is the currency I use. And you have to trust. You have to trust God in the process, because starting over, yes, you may not have a job. Yes, you may not have support from your family. Yes, you may not have all the necessary tools to work with to navigate your situation. But know that starting over it's okay to start over. Because if you stay in that place where, you're in that abusive relationship, your life could come to an end. And you now have your children. Who is going to care for your children? So these are some of the things that I encourage women to look at. Think about your children. Think about the fact that your children didn't ask to come here. Think about the fact that this toxic environment affects your children. And that is something that is really, really dear to me, because people tend not to look at the repercussions. People tend not to look at how domestic violence and abuse affects children. There are long-term effects. I'm praying and trusting God that one day I will do some research and do an article or a journal or something on the effects of domestic violence and abuse on children. We often say that children are resilient, right? And a lot of times we feel that because children may be 3, 4, 5 years old, they don't have a clue about what is going on. They may be 6, 7, they don't have a clue. But I want to say to parents, children in their formative years, they are very much aware. I have 2 nephews that are 6 and 7 years old. And sometimes when I listen to their conversations, it's like how do these children relive or, relate things that happened. Recently, my 6-year-old nephew, my sister sent me a video with him saying, I want to pray for mommy and daddy and, my brother. And he was like, talking like he was praying in tongues. This is what he sees his mom doing. This is what he hears. And he was able to relate that. You understand? So then we think that they don't understand. We think that they don't know what is happening. But we need to understand that our children have a right to safety and security. Our children have a right to healthy environments. So we need to be mindful of that.
All right. Well, and unfortunately, we're out of time for this segment. But of course, really want to thank you, Ms. Miles, for being on. But I can't leave without you sharing just your contact details, because, of course, it is always important to have a space for people to reach out if they need to reach out.
Oh, okay, sure. So I can be contacted at 485-9534, and that is 485-9534. Also, we have our Facebook page, Women of Substance Tobago. We also have our email, womenofsubstancetobago@yahoo.com. And, I want to encourage persons to reach out. Do not feel ashamed. Do not feel embarrassed. Know that suffering in silence is not a good option. Reach out and get the necessary help.
All right. Thank you so much. And
Thank
of course,
you for having
viewers,
me.
If you need to, please reach out. There is help available. All right. So we got to go for a quick break, but we'll be back right after this.
The energy filled the skies.